Introduction. The peaceful family home now feels like a command center. Rudius must protect his wives, children, sisters, and allies while also preparing for a war that could come from any direction. His first priority is reporting everything to Orsted. The enemy is no longer acting through quiet manipulation alone. Geese is actively recruiting warriors who can challenge Rudius and Orsted head-on. The volume therefore changes the move from family drama to alliance building. Rudius needs strong allies, political backing, and reliable fighters before Hidegama's side becomes too powerful. Volume 22 is called part of the organization arc because it is about building a network. The Rude Mercenary Company, royal contacts, demon allies, and the first steps toward a larger anti-Hidegami force. Event 1. Reporting to Orsted. Rudius proposes a counterplan. If Geese is gathering powerful people for Hidegami, then Rudius will gather powerful people for Orsted first. The targets are ambitious: the Death God in the King Dragon realm, the immortal demon king Atoph, and eventually other great powers or legendary fighters. Rudius also tries to discuss Peruginus, Laplace, and the deeper mystery behind Orsted's war. Orsted shuts down that topic, making it clear that some secrets are still too dangerous to touch. Rudius then suggests using a grander title like Dragon King to make negotiations easier. Orsted reacts sharply and forbids it, revealing that Dragon King is a name tied to wounds and old grudges. Event 2. Orsted Corporation expands. He returns home and gathers his family to explain the situation. Everyone hears that Geese, once a trusted ally of Paul's party, has become an enemy under Hidegami. The news hurts Roxy and the others because Geese helped during the search for Zenith. His betrayal feels personal, not just strategic. Rudius also explains that he must leave again to gather allies. His wives understand the danger, but the repeated travel and conflict weigh on the household. Zanoba decides to accompany him to the King Dragon realm. He is worried about Pax Jr. and wants to see the political situation there with his own eyes. Event 3. Journey to the King Dragon realm. Their first major objective is Randolph, the Death God. Rudius wants to recruit him before Geese can use the country's instability against them. Randolph, however, is not simply a battlefield monster. He is tired, politically trapped, and carrying the burden of his position in the kingdom. Rudius begins to realize that recruiting a great power is not just about asking nicely. Every strong person has obligations, fears, and ties that make negotiation difficult. The King Dragon realm becomes the first test of Rudius's new role, not only a magician or family man, but a diplomat for Orsted. Event 4. Aridel's backing. Doga blocks his way at first, creating a comic but tense moment, because even being Rudius is not enough without proper proof. Aridel eventually receives him. Rudius explains that her political movements are making negotiation in the King Dragon realm more difficult. Aridel quickly understands the bigger picture and agrees to ease the pressure. Their relationship now works like a political alliance, not just old university friendship. Rudius also sees Ghislaine and other Asuran figures, reminding him that every country he touches has its own web of loyalties and dangerous people. Event 5. King Dragon realm politics. They try to meet General Shagger, an old friend of Randolph, but the general is busy training soldiers and does not immediately grant them an audience. Instead, they meet Vio von Dragon, a noble who understands the balance between Asura, the King Dragon realm, and the wider central continent. The conversation shows that this country is not a simple ally waiting to be recruited. It is a chessboard of royal bloodlines, military factions, and international pressure. Rudius decides to set up a base of operations, because solving the problem will require patience rather than one dramatic meeting. Event 6. Careful negotiation. Randolph's situation becomes clearer. He is bound by duty and reputation, and his title as Death God makes every decision heavy. Rudius must avoid appearing like a foreign agent who has come to steal the kingdom's strongest asset. One wrong move could turn the entire court against him. Zanoba's presence helps because he understands royal pressure and political duty. He sees Randolph not only as a fighter, but as a man trapped by expectations. By the end of the King Dragon realm section, Rudius has learned that every potential ally comes with a price, a history, and a political battlefield attached. Event 7. Blue and Red interlude. Eris tries to cook for herself and fails badly, filling the kitchen with smoke and chaos. Roxy steps in calmly and cleans up the disaster with magic. Instead of mocking Eris, Roxy helps her. The scene is funny, but it also shows how the two wives are slowly becoming more comfortable with each other. Eris asks Roxy to teach her the demon language, because she wants to understand what will happen when they travel to the demon continent. Roxy accepts, and their bond grows. The blue-haired teacher and the red-haired swordswoman become more like teammates rather than simply two women connected through Rudius. Event 8. Journey to Fort Necros. The demon continent immediately feels different. Harsher landscapes, darker skies, and a culture where power speaks louder than polite negotiation. Their plan is simple in theory. Rudius wants to persuade Atov to become an ally before Hitagami's side can pull her into the coming war. But Atov is famous for not listening like a normal ruler. She respects strength, chaos, loyalty, and dramatic action far more than careful explanations. When the group reaches Fort Necros, it becomes clear that this negotiation may turn into a battle before Rudius can finish his first sentence. Event 9. Atov's misunderstanding. Before Rudius can properly fix the misunderstanding, Atov grabs him and flies away, leaving Roxy and Eris behind in shock. Eris nearly loses control and wants to chase Atov by cutting through everyone in the way. Her instincts scream that Rudius is in danger. Roxy stops her and forces her to think. This is one of the biggest moments showing Eris's growth, because she remembers her training and chooses discipline over blind rage. Roxy reframes the situation as a rescue scenario. If Rudius is the captured princess, then they must become the heroes who defeat the guards and reach him. Event 10. The Ultimate 4 Challenge. Eris fights the first opponent with overwhelming sword pressure, proving how far she has come since the Sword Sanctum. The next enemy has a strange body that ordinary sword attacks cannot easily finish. Roxy and Eris combine magic and swordsmanship to overcome it. The fights become a demonstration of teamwork. Eris brings raw attack power, Roxy provides strategy and magic, and the rest of the group supports the rescue. By the time the later Guardians appear, Roxy and Eris have fully committed to the role of heroes storming a demon fortress to save their captured husband. Event 11. Rudius, the captive princess. More, Atov's subordinate, explains the misunderstanding. Atov took Rudius's words as part of a dramatic challenge connected to Asura and heroic tradition. Rudius realizes that resisting directly will only make the misunderstanding worse. Instead, he adapts and plays along with the role assigned to him. He asks to become the kind of princess who helps the heroes from inside the castle, giving him freedom to move and influence the situation. This section mixes comedy with strategy. Rudius survives not by raw power, but by understanding the rules of the absurd game Atov has created. Event 12. Roxy and Eris recover. Atov makes a dramatic entrance, turning the rescue game into a direct clash with the immortal Demon King herself. The fight is chaotic, because Atov is nearly impossible to kill permanently. Her immortality and raw strength make normal tactics unreliable. Rudius, Roxy, and Eris must combine everything they have: magic, swordsmanship, planning, and quick improvisation. The battle becomes less about defeating Atov permanently, and more about proving enough strength and resolve to make her listen. Event 13. Atov finally negotiates. Rudius manages to turn the disaster into a success. Atov's chaotic nature remains dangerous, but she becomes connected to Orsted's side rather than Hitagami's. The chapter called Number 4 marks a new step in Rudius's alliance-building effort. One more powerful piece has been placed on the board against Geese. Rudius also sees again that every ally is different. Some need politics, some need trust, and some need to be fought before they will even listen. The mission proves that Rudius's organization can operate across countries, cultures, and even demon territories, but it also proves how risky every recruitment attempt will be. Event 14. Geese gathers more allies. In the Bigaret region, Geese travels through dangerous desert territory with the help of Hitagami's guidance and his own survival experience. He searches for a young man with long black hair, someone praised by locals as a hero after easily defeating a colossal monster. Geese understands that the young man wants a legendary purpose. He uses that desire to tempt him with the idea of defeating the supposedly evil supered race and the dragon god Orsted. The young man agrees to join, meaning Hitagami's side has gained another dangerous piece. Rudius's success with Atov is balanced by Geese's progress elsewhere. Event 15. Building the Anti-Hitagami Network. Volume 22 is not only about travel and fighting, it is also about building a network strong enough to oppose Hitagami's apostles before the final war begins. Rudius learns that political backing, trusted allies, and international connections matter as much as raw strength. He cannot face Geese's growing side alone. Orsted's organization begins to feel more real here. There are offices, workers, reports, and missions, turning the hidden war into something structured. This expanded event helps explain the strategic purpose of the volume. Rudius is not wandering randomly, he is deliberately trying to reduce Hitagami's options. By the end of this section, the reader understands that Volume 22 is a recruitment and preparation arc, where every alliance may matter later. Event 16. Ariel's political support becomes a weapon. Ariel's backing gives Rudius legitimacy. In a world of monarchies and powerful families, a queen's support can open doors that personal strength cannot. This added section emphasizes how Ariel's victory in Asura continues paying off. She is not just a past ally, she becomes a major political resource for Rudius and Orsted. Using Ariel's name also shows Rudius becoming more comfortable with diplomacy. He is learning to operate in rooms where authority, wording, and reputation matter. The scene also connects the Asura arc to the larger war. The throne Ariel won now helps Rudius compete against Hidegami's preparations. For narration, this event makes the story easier to follow. Earlier political victories are now being converted into future battlefield advantages. Event 17. Roxy and Eris show the home front's strength. The quieter home material is important, because Rudius's wives are not passive observers. Roxy and Eris each support him in different ways, while managing their own emotions and roles. Roxy brings intelligence, calm, and practical help. Eris brings force, loyalty, and direct action. Together, they show why Rudius's family is also part of his strength. This section gives emotional balance to the recruitment arc. The war is growing, but the home life being protected is still warm and alive. Their differences also make the family dynamic more interesting. They do not support Rudius in the same way, but both are essential to his ability to keep moving. For video pacing, this event provides a softer emotional breath before the comic chaos and danger of the Atoph section. Event 18. Atoph's challenge tests the party's teamwork. Atoph's misunderstanding turns diplomacy into absurd danger. What should be a negotiation becomes a theatrical rescue trial because Atoph follows her own violent logic. This added event highlights why the Fort Necra section is memorable. It mixes comedy, danger, and action while forcing Rudius's allies to prove themselves. The ultimate four act like living gates, testing the strength and resolve of the group. This makes the negotiation feel earned rather than simply granted. Rudius's imprisonment as a princess adds humor, but the fights outside are serious. Roxy, Eris, and the others must handle powerful opponents to move the mission forward. By the end, Atoph respects strength in the only language she fully understands. The party wins a negotiation by surviving her strange version of hospitality. Event 19. Geese's recruitment becomes a race against time. The extra chapter with Geese reminds us that Rudius is not the only one gathering allies. Hidegami's side is moving with purpose. Geese's strength is not in direct combat, but in understanding people. He knows how to approach dangerous figures and turn their desires toward Hidegami's plan. This section makes the future war feel inevitable. Every ally Rudius fails to gain may become a weapon in Geese's hands. The recruitment race creates tension for later volumes. The question is no longer whether conflict will happen, but who will stand on each side when it arrives. Volume 22 therefore closes as a strategic race. Rudius builds one network, Geese builds another, and the final board begins to take shape. Conclusion. The King Dragon realm teaches him that politics can be as hard as battle. Powerful allies have duties, fears, and national interests that cannot be ignored. The Demon Continent teaches him a different lesson. Some allies can only be reached through strength, chaos, and surviving their strange rules. Roxy and Eris also shine in this volume. Their teamwork, trust, and emotional growth show that Rudius's family is becoming part of his strength rather than something separate from the war. By the end, Rudius has gained ground, but Geese is also moving. The board is filling with monsters, heroes, kings, and gods, setting the story on the road toward the final battles.